probably presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. It's been way too damn long since I've been live, so I figured, you know what? It's what is it? It's Friday. It's Friday night. I'm hanging out with my youngin, my boy Dane.
The return of True School Sports.
The return. If y'all have been really watching me, you may remember him from the Manny Pacquiao Keith Thurman live. But I'm just here. I figured I'd chop it up with you guys about whatever you guys want to talk about in regards to the sport of boxing. You know, there's a lot to talk about. You know, obviously tomorrow we got the big fight with Brian Castano. You know, Jamel Charlo, undisputed. You know, lots of big things at stake. I've talked about that already, but I'll chime in a little bit about it here. You know, you got Charlo, who I think if he wins that fight, we're looking at him cementing himself as one of the top 10 154 pounders in the history of boxing. You know, you got Castano, who I'm not gonna lie to you guys, as this fight grows closer, as this fight inches closer and closer, I'm looking at Castano giving a really good account of himself. You know, I'm starting to believe in Castano. I'm starting to believe in Castano because I was watching him at the weigh-ins today. He looked really stoic. He looked really just at peace, and like there was not an ounce of intimidation from him. So I'm expecting a very good fight, and he's a guy that's been very well tested in the amateurs, and as well as the professionals. So that's what it is. Anything you guys want to talk about boxing wise or whatever, anything else, it's up. You know, just drop it in the comments. I'll get to it. I see there's 10 people here. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Do your boy a solid, and that'll be greatly appreciated. Haitian Sensation Promotions, what a name. He says, True School is back. Let's go. True School came back. That's right. I came out of retirement like Jordan and Floyd. CMD Boxing Reports. What's good, champ? How you living? Good to see you. David Barrera. What's good, BT? Shout out from El Paso, Texas. Yes, shout out to El Paso, Texas. What's up? How do you grade the card? So tomorrow's card, I think, is I haven't really dove too deep into the card as a whole. I know tomorrow we got Rolly, who I'm going to talk about a little bit because that's actually part of the reason why I wanted to come live, because there are some things that I have to say about Rolly. But you got Rolly. He's taking on Anthony Yiggett, who I saw today was 5 pounds overweight on the scale. So Rolly's going to be good whether he wins or loses this fight, because he can no longer lose his title regardless of the fact of whatever happens. But Yiggett's a veteran. He spots some good guys. It's someone that is going to go in there and give him a good, you know, some good rounds. You know, a guy's a southpaw. Rolly needs to step up and fight top guys. If not, then fight Rayo Valenzuela. Oh, hey, Jesus, you took the words right out of my mouth, and I'm gonna get to you in a second. But I gotta acknowledge the super chat. Shout out to my main man, 50 grand, Ohio. Yes, Ohio runs boxing. You know, one of the best pages on social media in the boxing world. You know, make sure you go follow my boy, my main man Marcus, giving you guys great content, keeping you guys up to date with what's going on everywhere in Ohio, from, you know, professionals to the amateurs to Jake Paul. And by the way, shout out to Jake Paul, man. Jake Paul, he's bringing the Tyron Woodley fight to Cleveland. He's got the Ohio fighters on the undercard, and that's what we want to see. So a lot of people say Jake Paul's been bad for boxing, but I love what he's doing, putting guys like Montana Love and I think Charles Conwell, 2 local homegrown Ohio fighters on a big platform in position to get a lot of exposure, make some money, and just continue building boxing in not just Ohio, but America at large. So massive respect to Jake Paul for what he's doing in Ohio. Thank you, Marcus, for the super chat. Anybody else want a super chat, you know, feel free to do so. Yeah, man. But getting back to Jesus' comment, Rolly, look, Rolando Romero, Rolly, I think he's a talented fighter. You know, very athletic, very explosive, brings a lot of interesting attributes to the ring in the sport. You know, he's fighting Anthony Yiggett in a fight he should win. He was initially supposed to fight Austin Dulay. That got scrapped. And look, I like Rolly, but let's just call a spade a spade. Rolly has been flapping his gums on social media talking about he's a sparring world champion. He's talking about, oh, I can beat this guy. He talks shit about southpaws all the time. So now we have a guy in Rayo Valenzuela, you know, who's made his reputation perfectly known in these gyms. You know, Rayo Valenzuela had, you know, a lot of us first started hearing about Rayo Valenzuela when he came to prominence, because apparently he knocked out Teofimo Lopez in sparring multiple times. You know, Rayo Valenzuela is also somebody that he's coming to you live and direct from Los Mochis, Mexico. Very grimy, rough part of Mexico. You know, wasn't a world class amateur, wasn't like the greatest amateur of all time, but won some things when he was living in Washington and Washington State as an amateur. So he's someone with a good foundation. And I gotta tell you this, in researching Raul Valenzuela and learning more about him and watching interviews and seeing fight clips of him, I like Raul Valenzuela. I love the energy he's coming to boxing, that he's bringing to the sport of boxing. He's bringing that energy that's making me, you know, me, Brendan, you know, BT, someone who I've been disgusted with boxing recently, just with some things that happened in Vegas. I've just been disgusted with boxing recently. But Raul Valenzuela, he's one of these fighters that, you know, with his attitude is making me fall in love with boxing, because he did an interview recently and they were talking to him and they said, oh, you know, he stated that he would step in short notice to fight Rolly, right? He issued that challenge to Rolly because he believes in his skills. He believes in whatever he's doing in the gym, and he wanted to test it against Rolando Romero, right? So he issued that challenge to Rolly, and I guess they were friends, as I've come to hear from him in the interview and from people I know in boxing. And he said it plainly. Yeah, he's my friend, but I'm trying to retire my mother. I'm trying to retire my mother. Ain't no time for friends in boxing, and that's the energy I want. You know, a lot of times in boxing, you get fighters that are friends. They come up through the amateurs together. They're cool. They say, "Oh, I'll never fight him because he's my bro." Nah, man, this is the sport of boxing. Fuck that other. Fuck the dumb shit. Like we want to see these fights happen. And the thing is this, right? If you really are friends with somebody, right, you would want to break bread with them. It's like back in the 80s when you had Simon Brown, you know, a really tough top flight welterweight. Simon Brown and Maurice Blocker were the best of friends. But when it came time to fight, when it came time to really go for the smoke, Simon Brown and Maurice Blocker wound up fighting each other, and they broke bread with each other. And I feel like that's the best thing you can do if you're truly somebody's friend in the sport of boxing. So I love the energy he's coming with. Right now, Rolly looks like a straight clown because he did an interview with Pheno Boxing where he was asked about fighting Raul Valenzuela, a southpaw, a guy that offered to fight him on short notice, and he just shot it down. He shot it down. He stormed out the interview, and it was a really bad look for him. So, you know, Rolando Romero, he gotta tighten up, man. He gotta really tighten up. I like him. You know, I did have the honor of meeting him when I was in Vegas. You know, it just didn't happen for whatever reason. But, you know, I like Rolly, and I want to see him do well. So this is not me hating Rolly. This is me calling a spade a spade. He looked really bad in the interview with Pheno Boxing. See. Oh, one of the OG subscribers. One of the OG subscribers. My main man. And I want everybody to make sure you give this man a round of applause because he actually put some pain in that ring. He was a fighter himself. My main man, Mark Christopher Atkins. You know, Mark Christopher Atkins, for those of you who don't know, he was a fighter in the Dallas, Texas area, local fighter. You know, he was the first guy to beat Shea Mosley Jr., gave him the first loss of his pro career, fought Jason Quigley in a really, really tough fight. You know, really good fighter, a good fighter that's kind of, in my opinion, slipped through the cracks. And kind of think of it, you know, he fought Mosley Jr., beat him, fought Quigley in what I thought was a close fight. You know, he might. It looks like, you know, Mark Christopher might need some more opportunities, but shout out to him. He says, with the thousands back and better than ever, keep up the great work, brother. Yes, thank you, Mark Christopher. We're back, man. You know, it's like you know, this whole boxing thing is like, you know, it's like life. You know, life is like boxing. You know, sometimes you get knocked down, but you got to pick yourself back up and come back even 10 times stronger. So that's what I'm doing. And this is my first live I've done in a while, and it's great to be talking to you guys and seeing these comments in real time and, you know, all that stuff. You know, there's definitely a lot to talk about. Joey Rizzo says the Untouchable is back, baby. Let's go, man. I got Charlo by 8th round KO. Let's go. I think that's great fight. I'll say it again. I'll kind of parrot what I said in my video about this fight. You know, Brian Castano, underrated fighter. You know, a guy that's you know, was world class as an amateur. I would classify him as an intelligent bruiser, somebody that can intelligently pressure you and really come to hurt you. Brian Castano. A lot of people have not really given him his just due, but I really think if he puts it together, this could be Charlo's toughest fight at 154. You know, Charlo is a compact, strong, aggressive, you know, boxer puncher. You know, and with the extra emphasis on the puncher because he has the attitude and the mindset of a puncher, and when he gets you hurt, he comes to knock your lights out. So that's why I like Jermell Charlo. and he's really won me over. He's really won me over the years with seeing how he's grown as a fighter, how he's evolved as a fighter, seeing his development under Derek James, and I think now in this Castano fight, in this undisputed fight, it has a chance to come full circle for him. So this is a great fight for boxing, and I think every boxing fan, for all the things we do complain about, we should be taking the time this week to really put some respect on not just Charlo's name but Castano's name as well for making this fight happen, because a lot of guys who have belts, we've seen it in other weight classes, they don't want to fight the best people. They don't want to go for undisputed. They don't want to pay them sanctioning fees. I can't blame them for that. But they don't want to go undisputed. These guys do. So kudos to both of them. They both have my respect. My main man, Freddie, Box Talk 101. Make sure you guys go subscribe to him. He says, what are we talking about right now? Right now, I was just talking about Charlo Castano, but I'll talk about anything. It's been a while since I've been live. I got time to kill, and for those of you asking, yes, tomorrow I will be live for Charlo Castano, so you will get a live fight reaction. It's been a long time since I've been in a live fight reaction. I know my pops was in some live fight reactions when I was traveling, but it's been a long time since I've been in one, so tomorrow we will definitely be giving this fight its just due, and you will get a live fight reaction. Did you see William Cepeda on the Golden Boy undercard? He's an aggressive southpaw who throws combos and doesn't neglect the body. He'd give Willie Mass some problems and could very well beat him. I didn't get a chance to watch that fight when it happened, but I saw some clips of William Cepeda. He's a good-looking prospect. He looks like somebody that can really be a threat to someone like Willie. And yeah, I liked what I saw. Really aggressive, throws really sharp, compact punches, and that could be one for the future as well. Shout out to William Cepeda. It's funny you mentioned him because this I have a friend who did photography for him in his last fight. Shout out to the great Liz De Los Santos out there in LA. She's doing her thing with the photography. But Cepeda is a good prospect. I did get a chance to watch him. And another fight I got a chance to watch on that Golden Boy card, and I wanted to talk about this, was a good fight. It was a really good fight. You had a Puerto Rican prospect that signed Miguel Cotto, Brian Chevalier. He was like 15-1. He was taking on James Crunch Time Wilkins, who's a friend of the channel. I know James. I've had a chance to get to know James over the last couple of months. Good guy. James Wilkins and Brian Chevalier was a good fight because it was a classic bull versus the matador. You had Chevalier, who was trying to use that long, rangy frame to get away from Crunch Time. Crunch Time was pressing him, doing a good job of attacking that body. I haven't watched the fight in its entirety, so I can't say whether it was a robbery or not. But what I can say is that I think James fought very well. And even though James Wilkins lost that fight, I don't think that's the kind of loss that's gonna hurt James Wilkins. I think losses like that actually help James Wilkins because he got viable ring experience and he showed to the people that watched that fight that he comes to fight, and Golden Boy will give him more opportunities. So shout out to my man Crunch Time. And I think even though he lost, I think now he's what, 9-2, 8-2, 9-2, something like that. I think James is still going to be somebody to look out for at 130. Because he'll be involved in big fights and he'll be entertaining in these fights because he comes to fight. And that's all we can ask for as fight fans. Sometimes, right? Sometimes as boxing fans, I think boxers make it more complicated than it is. A lot of people get caught up in world titles. A lot of people get caught up in who has this belt, who has that belt, who's A side, who's B side. And at the end of the day, right? If you're a fighter and you have an exciting style and you're someone who comes to fight, and you're someone who gives fans value for their money, and they get excited anytime they see your name on a card, you are winning in your career. Because there's fighters right now who are undefeated world champions that fans couldn't give a toss about. They couldn't care. They could care less about these guys. So it's not always about. It is about being world champion. That's the pinnacle because that's what puts you in a position to make money. But take a page from Derek. Like look at Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora has all these losses at heavyweight. All these losses at heavyweight. And Derek Chisora is someone that, people still want to see him fight in the UK. Not because he's this pound-for-pound great fighter. And not because he wins all these fights. But because every time he fights, he gives the fans a good show. And he gives them value for their money. So if you can be a fighter that people are going to be excited to watch fight. And you can do that without having to mess up your faculties in check. And you can keep your faculties in check. Then you're winning. You're winning. So that's my opinion. But shout out to everybody here, man. I see all the comments. I'm going to get to all of them in a timely manner. It's just good to be back in front of the camera. It feels like it's been such a long journey just to click the live button and get live, but I'm here. I'm live. Rolly gets mad when they turn him down, but yet he does the same. Yeah, man. Hey, that's how it goes in boxing. A lot of these fighters, man. And I'm just starting to see this more and more around boxing. I'm not gonna put no names out there, and I'm not even talking shit about Rolly, but I'm just saying in general. A lot of these fighters, they're not who they claim to be, and you know, it is what it is, man. You know, what did Andre Ward say? Andre Ward once said, you know, you can talk tough and you can be as big as you want, but at the end of the day, there's always going to be a fighter that is going to test you, and you got to be everything you claim to be. And sometimes that's not what these fighters claim to be. These fighters aren't who they claim to be. Brendan Smith, what's good, champ? He says, I disagree with you sometimes, but I like what you do. Thank you, Brendan. I appreciate your comments, bro. God bless you. And thank you for stopping by. Daz Perez, hey, Brendan, you're a real boxing fan across all divisions, and I like that, and I'm glad to see you back. What do you think of Tyson Fury's roller coaster antics? Well, it's not really anything that we haven't seen from Tyson Fury before. Tyson Fury has told you guys out of his own mouth that he can't. How can his opponents know what he's gonna do when he doesn't even know what he's gonna do? And that same statement applies to him outside of the boxing ring. These things apply to Tyson Fury in the boxing ring, and they damn sure apply to Tyson Fury outside that boxing ring. I'm pissed off that, you know, the whole COVID thing happened. Truthfully, I don't believe that he has COVID. I don't really believe that any of these fighters have COVID when they cancel their fights just weeks before the fight. You know, I think it's a new tactic that promoters and promotional companies are using when the tickets aren't selling like they should, and this started with Teofimo Lopez. Listen, I love Fury, but I'm pissed off that this fight is gonna happen or that it's getting pushed back because, truthfully, I think Wilder Fury 3 is a waste of time. I said that in my video a couple months ago. You know, I think it's a waste of time. We know who the better fighter is. You know, Wilder fought Fury when he was fat and came off the couch. You know, he won life and death with him. He fought Fury when he had time to train. He got sparked. We know who the better fighter is. Even if Wilder knocks him out, it's still 1-1. So, you know, I just hate that fighters like, you know, like Anthony Joshua and other fighters in the heavyweight division aren't going to get their crack at big fights, you know. And to me, I look at this fight, I look at Wilder Fury 3 the way I would look at a potential Triple G versus Canelo fight. That's also another fight. That's another fight where, you know, if it were to happen, I just look at it as being a waste of time. So that's my opinion. But either way, whether it happened on July 24th or whether it happens in October, I think Tyson Fury is going to beat the brakes off Wilder. And it's going to end with Deontay Wilder's fans here on YouTube doing what they do best, and that is bitching and moaning about things not going their way. So, yeah, man. That's just my opinion to answer your question. Soft skin, healthy eating, great stream. Just subscribe. Thank you, champ. Welcome to the channel. You're an Untouchable. Welcome to the Untouchable True School Sports Empire, man. Lance Meyer, what's good, BT? What's good, Lance? Good to see you. Hope you're good. Brendan Smith, he says, I like Tank Davis and Conor, but I know some people don't like them, and I like Fury. I like seeing Tank Davis and Conor, but I know some people. All right. I'm not really sure what to make of that comment, but I appreciate it, Brendan. After today's weigh-ins, I'm smelling an upset. Charlo looked skinny and drained. Castano looked healthier and stronger. Yeah, man. I don't know what it is. Like, I think that has a role to play in it. And I think me going back and revisiting some Castano fights, because he is underrated. The closer this fight gets, I don't know, man. Like, I used to, like, if you would have asked me, like, 3 months before this fight happened or 2 months before this fight happened, I would have said, yeah, Charlo gonna beat Castano, right? Because I was really gassed and hyped up on Jamel Charlo. But, like, as it's getting closer, I'm really starting to feel like it's a true, like, damn near 50-50 fight. You know, Castano is not coming to play around, and he's the real deal. You know, Charlo better be on his P's and Q's, because Castano, he's sure to make history. You know, Argentina right now, you know, Argentina's feeling, all these Argentinians are really fighting with a lot of pride right now because Diego Maradona just died, so they're all trying to honor the legacy of Diego Maradona. The Argentinian national team just won the Copa America tournament in soccer, so, you know, Argentinians are riding a high right now, and it's no different. You know, even today at the weigh-ins, they had a bunch of Argentinians in Texas. I didn't even know that Texas had Argentinians, and I used to live in Texas. You heard all the Argentinians at the weigh-in chanting and yelling and screaming, Argentina, Argentina, Argentina. And this is in Jamel's hometown, so, you know, it looks like it's going to be a, well, not his hometown. They're in San Antonio, but you know what I'm saying. His home state, not too far from his hometown. Virtuoso says, everyone I know is picking Jermell Charlo, but what does Brian Castano have to do to get the victory? What are the keys to the fight for the Argentinian? A great question. I think, you know, first and foremost, whenever you fight a fighter like Jermell Charlo, I think the one thing you must have in order if you want any chance of beating him is your conditioning. Your conditioning has to be in tip-top shape to beat Jermell Charlo, because Jermell Charlo has shown us time and time again he's just as dangerous in the 12th round as he is in the first round. He carries power through all 12 rounds. So your conditioning has to be A1. That's first and foremost. Secondly, you have to be a defensively responsible fighter. And what I mean by that is, you know, you have to shoot your jab from the proper range. You can't overextend while being out of range. You have to make sure your positioning in the fight is very good, because if it's not, Jermell Charlo has shown us in the past, you know, he can beat you up either on the front foot, or he can beat you up as the counterpuncher as well. So the way I think Castano has to beat Jermell Charlo is, I think what we need to see from him is intelligent and sustained pressure. The kind of pressure where we see him getting that lead foot leverage. I want to see a lot of double jabs, some angles, body shots, particularly in the first 3 to 4 rounds. You don't want Jermell Charlo in the first 3 to 4 rounds. You don't want Jermell Charlo in the first 3 to 4 rounds to be fighting at a methodical pace. You want to push the pace on Jermell early while being responsible, and you know, while being responsible, while maintaining that defensive responsibility. Because if not, you know, Jermell can hit you with a big right hand, a left hook, and it could be a really short night for you. So I think Castano has the attributes. I think he has the skills and the experience to execute a really good game plan against Charlo. And I think Castano is very much in this fight. You know, I don't see it as a fight where, if he is an underdog, it can't be by a lot. Let's see. What's up, BT? I'm glad you're back. Do you think Boo Andrade will get the GGD fight? I hope he gets the fight. He is willing to fight anyone. And you know what, Romero Guerrero, thank you for the comment. And by the way, everybody who's here, make sure you smash the like button if you haven't done so already. And also, make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel. When it comes to Demetrius Andrade, I'll just be honest with you guys. Like, I've had discussions with people in the boxing world, names I'm not going to say, but people in the boxing world, and it's been multiple people. And it just looks like, you know, he's like unofficially blackballed from fighting top competition, because when promoters have conversations or managers have conversations about making fights, you know, making competitive fights is not on the priority list. It's all about what makes the most money, which is understandable because this is a business. But at the same time, it's still a sport, and people want to see fights where they're deemed to be competitive going in. So I really think that Triple G will not be fighting Demetrius Andrade. I think he'll go the route of fighting Murata, or he'll find some other cannon fodder opposition to fight, because Demetrius Andrade is not who he wants to be fighting at this point in his career. And never mind Demetrius Andrade, you can't get Golovkin to fight anybody these days, let alone Demetrius Andrade. So, you know, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, you know, that Demetrius Andrade can't get these fights. You know, we know, I mean, hey, I hate to bring up old news, but we know Canelo don't want to fight him. Canelo's scared to death of Demetrius Andrade. You know, I just saw a tweet like a couple days ago where they were talking about how the negotiations for Canelo and Plant are breaking down. There's a lot of layers to that negotiation. You know, you got the network situation. You got, you know, Canelo being the A side and getting what he wants. You have that going on. You have the purse demands of Caleb Plant. You have the Al Heyman 5 to 6 fight deal, right? You have all that going on. And even what I saw is, even if Canelo Alvarez doesn't fight Caleb Plant next, that he's actually considering fighting Golovkin a third time before he fights Demetrius Andrade. It's becoming a clown show with Canelo Alvarez. I mean, I know everybody thinks he's this great fighter, he's this unbeatable fighter, he's this all-time great. He ain't those things. To me, he's not those things. Any fighter who blatantly ducks and avoids an undefeated champion across multiple weight classes And even tells you like this is, it's not even just me assuming, it's not me putting baseless conjecture into a video. Like, he's told you guys. Demetrius Andrade pulled up on him and he said, "You are never going to get the fight. You are a horrible fighter." But he acknowledged that he was the champion. So how can a guy be a champion? Please explain this to me. How is a guy a world champion, 30-0, 18 KOs, US Olympian, world amateur champion? How is he all these things, but he's horrible at the same time? That just doesn't make sense. Any rational thinking person, it's listen, you don't gotta think Demetrius Andrade's a great fighter. I'm not asking you to. You don't have to think that he's this world beater, because I'm not asking you to. But what you're not going to do is insult my intelligence and any other rational thinking boxing fan's intelligence by telling me that Canelo Alvarez isn't gonna fight him because Demetrius Andrade sucks as a fighter. That's what we're not gonna do. And I will, especially when you're fighting the Avni Yildirim's of the world. And by the way, I like Avni. Avni's a friend of the channel. I like Avni. You know, you're fighting Avni Yildirim. You're fighting Callum Smith, who went life and death with John Ryder. These guys could not beat Demetrius Andrade. They haven't done what he did in the pros, and they didn't do what he did in the amateurs. So don't insult and disrespect my intelligence. But yeah, man, I want to see that fight. I really want to see that fight, and hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. In my opinion, what I believe Canelo will do, feelings aside, what I believe Canelo will do is I think Canelo will not fight Caleb Plant because they just can't come to an agreement on making the fight happen. I think he will go to 175, all right? I think he will go to 175, and I think he'll fight Artur Beterbiev. Now, unpopular opinion, I think the Artur Beterbiev fight is a great fight for Canelo. I think if he fights Artur Beterbiev, he will beat Artur Beterbiev, and he will definitely I think he'll beat the brakes off of him. I think he will beat the brakes off Artur Beterbiev. It's no disrespect to Artur Beterbiev. I think Beterbiev is a good fighter, a strong fighter, and maybe if this fight would have happened 3-4 years ago, then maybe I would say Beterbiev beats him. But right now, you know, you're looking at Beterbiev, he hasn't been active since the Vosdik fight. He's had a lot of injuries, inactivity. I think, you know, his body is a bit fragile. And I really think if there was a fight where Canelo Alvarez wanted to really make some history and get a good name on his resume, that's the fight you take. Beterbiev is undefeated. He's an undefeated champion. I believe he's the only world champion active in boxing right now with the 100% knockout ratio. And he was a great amateur as well. So I'm not going to hate him for taking that fight, but I don't think that it's a more difficult fight for him than Demetrius Andrade or Dimitri Bivol. Contrary to popular belief, I actually think the Artur Beterbiev fight is one of the best fights and the easiest fights out there for Canelo. And I'm going to get a record saying that right now. I think Canelo Alvarez, if he fights Artur Beterbiev, will look like $1 million against Artur Beterbiev. All right, let me see. We got a lot of comments. My bad for going on a tangent. You guys know how I get when you talk about Canelo and Andrade. You know, you're prone to get one of these rants from me. So it is what it is. The Gambler, Yvonne Nicholas, John, my boy, the Gambler. He says, "Hope you got that 50 I put in earlier." Shout out from the Gambler. I don't think I got it earlier. Did you send it to PayPal? Because I didn't see it earlier. I checked it earlier. I didn't see anything, but I'll check later on. Charlo's body needs to be touched early for the upset from my man Raw Dog. Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, it has to be touched up early. Castano has to close that gap early. He's got to push that pace, and he's got to really take some gas out the tank of Charlo early, because you can't have Charlo finding this slow, methodical pace and being able to save stamina for the back half of the fight. You can't do that, because then you're putting yourself in a very bad predicament, you know? Supposedly, Castano, when he beat Spence in the amateurs, because for those of you who don't know, Brian Castano, he defeated he defeated Sergey Derevyanchenko in the amateurs, and he defeated Earl Spence in the amateurs. And according to Castano, when he fought Spence in the amateurs, he said he dropped Spence twice in that amateur fight. So if anybody's got any tape on that fight, if it's on YouTube, let me know where I could find that, because I want to see that. Tony Harrison can crack. Brian Castano not having power will hurt him in this fight. We'll see, man. I think Castano, he's not like, I don't think he's as sharp of a puncher as Tony Harrison, but I think with his stamina and his ability to place punches, he can break you down methodically through rounds. So we'll see. And his conditioning is very good. The one thing that Castano has going for him that Tony Harrison has never had in his career is conditioning. He's a very well conditioned fighter who does good in the back half of fights. As to where Tony Harrison, like if you could take Tony Harrison's skill set, right, and you could kind of like, I don't know, like combine it with the conditioning of a Brian Castano, you'd have a unbeatable fighter at 154, in my opinion. Yeah, man. Shout out to all 31 of you here. Make sure y'all smash that like button, subscribe. The kid is back. The Untouchable True School Sports Empire. It don't matter. We going through shit in life. Who cares? The show must go on. Lupe Fiasco said it best. You know, the show must go on. The show must continue. And I can't fold. I can't falter. We here, man. So get your questions in. You know, I got some time to burn. Troy Sword says, good to see you're back, brother. What's going on with our man, the boogeyman, the champ, Boo Andrade? I'm seeing that Lil G fraud said he's not fighting him. Well, as far as what's going on with him, I'm supposed to call his father. I'm supposed to call his dad soon because from time to time, Demetrius Andrade's father, Paul, he'll call me and he'll let me know what's going on with his career and stuff. And I haven't talked to Paul Andrade in about 3 weeks, so I'm gonna call him soon, and I'm gonna see what's going on with Demetrius Andrade's career. From what I've heard in the media, you know, I have no reason to believe that Triple G will be fighting Demetrius Andrade anytime soon. All right, let me see. Oh my God, so many comments, man. So many comments. Brandon White, what's good, champ? Good to see you back. And yes, brother, it's good to be back. It's great to be back. Paul Williams and Margaritos were in Boo Boo's shoes, but they were willing to fight the Kermit Cintras and Sergio Martinez and even each other. Boo Boo's not. How do you know that? Why would you say he's not willing to fight those guys? Because Jamal Charlo is the same guy. You know, Jamal Charlo don't want to fight him. Triple G don't want to fight him. Canelo don't want to fight him. And then look, everybody says he doesn't want to fight nobody, right? But I want everybody right now, you can do this as I'm talking about it. Go through the WBO rankings and just go look at the top 15. And you tell me, who would Demetrius Andrade have to fight from that weak-ass top 15 at 160 to get your respect? Because like it's after Chris Eubank, who himself isn't even a great fighter. There's not really a lot of options that would please boxing fans at 160. 160 outside the champions and a couple fighters here and there is garbage. It's a very thinned out division. I think Boo Boo will have to go up to 168. I think he'll do that soon. You know, I don't know what's going on with his career right now. I had to talk to his father and see what the latest updates are because I haven't heard anything myself. You know, with me being just kind of detached from boxing from a little bit, I'm still catching up myself on boxing. Jairo Galvez, my main man, 50 grand. Jairo Galvez, that's my guy right there, man. That's like one of my favorite subscribers. Shout out to Jairo. He says, BT, give me a call. I'm the real champ. We know the real fight at 154 is Jason Rosario versus Tony Harrison. Juwan Payday. That's what Jairo said. That's a good fight, man. I would like that fight because it's two fighters that have been world champion at 154. You know, it's really sad to see what's been happening to my boy Rosario. You know, Rosario, not too long ago, he was one win away from being the unified champion, world champion himself. And then Charlo ruined him, beat the hell out of him. And then he fought Eric Shalubin and made Eric Shalubin look like freaking Mike McCallum. So I don't know, man. I think Rosario, it might be time for him to move up. You know, I know he's been having problems making the weight. And I think that played a role in his last fight, you know. So I don't know, man. If it happens, I think it'd be a good fight for PBC. I wouldn't mind seeing it, but it'd be good to see one of those two get a win because both of them could desperately use a win. It'd be a good crossroads fight, but it's just sad to see what's happened to the Rosario. Let's see who else we got. Man, we got a star-studded chat here. Fuck, man, so many comments. Jonathan Simon, what's up, my brother? Are you back to boxing? Yeah, man. I explained it in other videos, but I'll explain it a little bit here. You know, you can't run away. Listen, I've spent so much time and invested a lot of energy into this sport, and boxing has given me so many great things in my life. And You know, yeah, there's corruption in boxing, and there will always be corruption in boxing. But even if I left boxing, like if I go work a job at Publix or somewhere else, I'm always going to find corruption in my life. So like we're here. You know, there's more positives than negatives covering boxing, and we're gonna keep it going because that's what it's what's giving me so much happiness and joy in my life, and it's what's allowing me to meet so many people in my life. So you know, I'm here, man. Let's see who else we got. Ali 313. I'm rolling with Jamel tomorrow. That weigh-in was amazing. Yes, sir. Yes, it was. It was a hell of a weigh-in. John the Gambler says it's in PayPal. All right, I'll check it. I'll check it after this. After this live is done, I'll let you know. Soft Skin Healthy Eating says you have to understand that Canelo is a Mexican warrior. Bubo Andrade's counter-punching style is disgusting to Canelo. Well, is it disgusting to Canelo? Because if he fought Bubo Andrade, you know, he might start getting PTSD of fighting Floyd when Floyd was counter-punching him all over the MGM Grand. Is that why? Look, man, you can't. People in boxing cannot have their cake and eat it at the same time. And what I mean by that is you can't on one end say Canelo Alvarez is the best fighter in boxing. He's the best Mexican fighter who ever lived. And then on the other hand say, oh, well, he doesn't need to fight Demetrius Andrade because he's boring. You can't, and you know, he hasn't fought nobody because Avni Yildirim didn't fight nobody. You know, Callum Smith had a gift decision against John Ryder before he fought Canelo. Looked horrible. All right. He looked like a horrible fighter against John Ryder, but he still got the fight. So let's just keep that same energy. Let me see. Who else we got? L Dog, my man L Dog, the OG True School Soldier. You know, he's the president of the Philip Hergovic fan club. I'm the vice president of the Philip Hergovic fan club. What's good, L Dog? Hey, L Dog. Please, at your earliest convenience, please let me know where I could send you my gift. I've had a gift for you for like months, and I've been trying to send it to you, but you haven't let me know where I could send it to. You know, it's just for you. I went out of my way and I got it just for you, champ. So please let me know where I could mail off my gift to you. Let me see. If you don't understand the mindset of a warrior, you probably won't fully understand. No, because that Canelo not wanting to fight Bubo Andrade isn't the mindset of him being a warrior. It's a lack of boxing IQ and the fact that he can't beat fighters with certain styles. So that's why he doesn't want to fight him. It don't have nothing to do with him being an Azteca warrior. It don't got anything to do with none of that. He just don't want no smoke because he don't want PTSD of him getting counterpunched all over the MGM Grand against Floyd Mayweather. Let me see. Al the Pal, what's up, champ? What it do? Next time you're in H-Town, let me know ahead of time. I would have taken you out, bro. Hey, you got it. Next time I go out there, I'll let you know, man. But I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful next time I'm in Houston because I almost got myself and all of my friends killed last time I was in Houston. I don't want to use any names because I want to keep my friends' identities concealed. But I went to the Angelo Leo fight in Houston, and I almost got my friends killed at the club. And I don't even go to clubs. Like, I got invited to go to a club, and you know, I almost got my friends killed. If you guys want to hear that story, let me know in the comments. But yeah, man. Let me see. Yeah, Baki Hamna, I agree. Demetrius Andrade has very underrated power. I wouldn't compare his power to somebody like a Wilder or anything like that. It's not necessarily one punch knockout power, but it's respectable power. It's snapping power. It's power that's snapping power from awkward angles, which makes it that much dangerous. So basically, yeah, it makes him very hard to beat, especially when you factor in he's 6'1" at middleweight. You know, very. It's a very hard code to crack, and that's why a lot of guys aren't anxious to fight him, regardless of what they say in the media. So people want to know what happened at the club. So, okay, I'll let you guys know how it happened at the club, but I can't disclose anybody's name who was at the club because I could get them in trouble. So what I will say is this. So for those of you who saw my video, I went to the Angelo Leo fight in Houston. You know, I actually had ringside seats. I was right there. You know, shout out to Angelo for getting me the ticket. You know, God bless him. But Angelo fought Aaron Alameda. I was there to support Angelo. You know, it was a tough fight. You know, a lot of people thought It could have went either way. I watched it back a couple of times. I thought Angelo won the fight pretty clearly. Watching it back, but either way, good performance, good experience. He'll come back better from that type of fight, right? So after the fight was over, I was staying with some. I was staying in Houston. I had a hotel. I had a hotel just outside downtown Houston, but I had to be in downtown Houston the following morning to meet with somebody. So I decided to stay with one of my friends at his hotel room, which was in downtown Houston, right? So one of my friends was with a couple of my other friends that went to the fight, and they all got this great idea to go to the club. Now, just to key you guys in a little bit on who I am outside of YouTube, I'm not like the club. I know I live in South Florida. I live close to South Beach. I could be in South Beach in 20 minutes. It's just not my thing. Clubs, it's always been a waste of time to me. I'm not really with the rah-rah stuff. And it's expensive, and I don't got money to be burning at the club like that, so it's never made sense for me to go to a club. But the people that I went with, they had money, and they went to the club, so they talked me into going with them, and I foolishly agreed to go with them. So we get to the club, right? We get to the club. I'm happy Angelo won his fight. We get there, right? And one of the people that I went to the club with, he makes a lot of money. He makes a lot of money. And he decided to buy one of those like VIP tables. So he bought a VIP table, right? He buys the VIP table. And when he buys the VIP table, right? I remember there was already a group of girls sitting at the VIP table. He kicks them out the VIP table. And then he yells really loud. He says, "Money talks," right? So then we sit on the couch. We sit on the couches where the VIP tables was, and there's bottles and there's girls. There's girls coming over drinking with us and stuff, right? So the music, it's really not my thing. The club, we were there. The music, I wasn't feeling the music. I really didn't want to be there. 45 minutes in, I just completely mentally check out of where we're at, right? So I get on my phone, I start reading YouTube comments, I start checking like baseball scores and things like that. So like after about an hour of sitting at the club, this black girl, this thick, beautiful black girl comes and sits on the couch right next to me. Like right next to me. I'm completely disinterested. And then she starts a conversation with me, and she starts telling me about herself. She's from Atlanta, but she's going to school in Houston. She's telling me all this stuff about herself, right? Long story short, she gave me her number in like a couple minutes. She was really feeling me too. She was a nice looking girl. And then, right? So after the girl gave me her number, and I could tell that she was feeling me and stuff. I'm now engaged. Like I'm excited to be there. I'm engaged. And I'm starting to feel really confident, right? So then I turn behind me, right? I turn behind me, and there's like this really beautiful like Latin girl, this Latina girl like right behind me. And she's just dancing, and she's by herself, right? She's by herself in the club. So she's literally like right behind me. And I start talking to her. I start talking to her. I introduce myself, like I didn't disrespectfully grab her hand. Like I didn't disrespectfully grab her hand, but like I gently grabbed her hand. I started talking to her. I started telling her where I'm from. She starts telling me about herself. And then I asked her if I could get her number or whatever. And then she was like, I don't give my number out to people because, I have a boyfriend. So then I told her with a smile on my face, like, I don't want to be your boyfriend. And then she started laughing and whatnot. And then I was like, it's cool. Just give me your Instagram if you have Instagram. And then so she's about to give me her Instagram, right? And as she's giving me her Instagram, her boyfriend walks up, and he has this really angry look on his face. And then she's like, "Yeah, that's my boyfriend." And I was like, "Yeah, nice to meet you." Whatever, right? So then one of my friends who was sitting next to me to my right, who's also a fighter, whose name he will remain nameless, but he's an upcoming fighter. He was sitting to my right. I tell him, "Hey man, I was talking to this girl. Her boyfriend just came. He's probably mad. Something bad's probably gonna happen really, really soon." So after I say that, I get up. I get up off the couch, and there's like a bottle. There's a bottle, and I go to grab the bottle, right? So I grab the bottle, and my friend tells me to put the bottle down. So I put the bottle down because I had the bottle in my hand just in case something was about to pop off, because I could sense it. Because like the girl and her boyfriend, they had like they had like other people. They had it was more than just one guy. There was like it was like two girls and there was like three or four guys. So then I put the bottle down and I turn around and then another one of my friends that I was with, who's also a upcoming fighter whose name will remain nameless. He's not a professional yet though. He's still an amateur. I see one of the guys that was with them and my friend going like face to face, like I'll tell you, I'll reenact it for you, right? So I turn around, and they're kind of just like they're like in each other's face with these angry looks, and I can't really hear what they're saying. I can't hear what they're saying, but I see their mouths moving, and I can tell that it's not good, right? So literally, as soon as I saw that, like a second later, my friend, he steps back, he goes like this, boom. He irons him out, hits him with one of the meanest straight right hands you've ever seen, splatters him on the floor. The dude was motionless. Like, do you guys remember when Teofimo Lopez knocked out Mason Menard? He was like Mason Menard on the canvas. Like, it was like that, right? So he hits him with a right hand. He's knocked out cold. The other dude went after another one of my friends who's also a fighter that was there, and he dropped that dude with a body shot, right? Okay? And then the person that was closest to me, pulled a knife on me, and mind you, we're in the VIP, so it's dark and you can't really see everything that's happening. So I got the fuck up out of there. I'm not fighting no dude in the dark with a knife. And that's what it was. That's what it was, man. And the crazy thing was that wasn't even that was there was more things that happened after that. So like 10 minutes after the fight, after the dude got knocked out and the dude got dropped the body shot and the dude pulled a knife on me, we're outside, right? And then one of my friends that I was with, there was like a food truck on the corner, right? There was a food truck on the corner, right? And I guess he had to use the bathroom. So I'm having a conversation with one of my friends, and then my other friend, he was pissing on the food truck, right? He's pissing on the food truck. And the Korean guy who owned the food truck comes out, and he was like, "Hey man, what the fuck are you doing?" Right? and then we had to defuse that situation where one of my friends told the Korean guy, he's like, "Yeah, man, he didn't mean nothing disrespectful by it." And he's like, "Disrespect? This is very disrespectful." And I'm like, shit, he got a point. You pissing in his food truck. So then eventually we diffused that situation and we got out of that unscathed. And then like 2 minutes after that, like this white dude who looked like Paul Wall in a pickup truck, he drives like right past us, but like he flashes like an extendo clip, like he has a gun in his hand. And then you just see him go about half a block, and you just hear bah! And yeah, that's how I almost got killed in Houston. You know, it was, and all of that happened in like 45 minutes. So you know, fuck the club, bro. I'm never going back. but then the funny thing was, after it was done, right? I didn't even want to go to the club, but then all my friends that I went to the club with, they said, "BT, this is your fault. You went to the club and you were there taking everybody's girl, and you almost got us killed." So. That's the story. I don't know the name of the club. I don't even remember where it was at in Houston. I just remember it was a club in Houston somewhere. Anyway, that's the story. Let me get back to the comments. So we got Dave Barrera says, "I seen you on Showtime." Yeah, man, it was pretty cool being on Showtime. Got some good pictures. Let me see. He hasn't showed any urgency to make the fight. Mini Max Boxing, shout out to my boy, my youngin, Mini Max. He says, "The pimp BT." Nah, man. I gotta keep the pimp juice on ice. Vaki Hamna says, "You should have invited her to Olive Garden, bro." Nah, bro. I'm not trying to go to Olive Garden or In-N-Out Burger. Threesome Taylor. Nah, man. Did you play Slideshow for her? Oh, the Sideshow song? I should have. A great fighter can be all styles, and we know how limited No Cojones Canelo is. He's not built that way to accomplish such tall tasks. And I agree. Listen, everybody can say Canelo's a great fighter, but if you look at the styles he's been matched up with since he fought Mayweather, it's all been, you know, fighters that fit a certain description. And the fighters he's avoiding, they all fit a certain style and description. So it's all smart matchmaking by Canelo Alvarez and all parties involved. Andrade can't sell. Plant can't sell. Charlo can't sell. Canelo, no problem. Yeah, none of them can. You're right. None of them can sell. So I don't see what the issue is with him fighting these guys. Callum Smith couldn't sell in America. Avni Yildirim can't sell in America. So what's the issue with fighting those guys? What's the problem with making a fight with him and Boo Andrade. Boo Andrade needs to promote himself better, period. I mean, I agree with you, but like, I don't. I don't agree with it because Canelo was fighting Avni Yildirim. Did Avni Yildirim have to promote himself better? Like, why is there different standards being placed on Boo? I don't understand. I bet you Boo Andrade versus Charlo would sell. They have real beef, and that. Oh my God, yes. Like, and truthfully, look, I really want to see the Canelo fight more with Boo Andrade. But if you said BT, he has to fight Charlo before fighting Canelo. I have zero problems with that. Truthfully, that should be the next fight that happens. That should be the next fight that happens. Because the way I see it, you know, in my opinion, the way that people feel about the way that people that don't like Demetrius Andrade feel about him is how I feel about Jermall Charlo. I think Jermall Charlo is quickly becoming one of the most overrated champions in the sport of boxing. You know, this is a guy that on multiple occasions has had fights in his hometown, in Houston, and when you have fights in your hometown, you got to go there to make a statement. And he's in there with the Montiels of the world and the Brandon Adams of the world, and he's not really showing that extra bit of quality. So, you know, I think they need each other. I think they're both at a stage of their career where they've shown that they're at a certain level. They're better than the rest of the division, but they haven't really shown. There's still questions about both of them with a lot of boxing fans, and that fight right there would be good for both of them because it would give us answers as to who's who, what's the pecking order, and also I think marketing wise, they would bring out the best in each other. I would have took you to Chicas Locas. All right. BT got shooters on deck though. Hey man, I don't like to say it, but I do. I don't have, but I'm ready. You know, I'm ready. BT, I'm worried for Mr. Keep Running Your Mouth. He's a very excited puncher, and not landing as much is going to get him to lose. Yeah, he's very much like a fighter that thrives off of momentum and whatnot. So like you saw in that first Tony Harrison fight, when Tony Harrison, even though it wasn't the best looking fight, when the longer Tony Harrison was able to not allow Charlo to land those big shots, the more of a winnable fight it became. So if Castano can put good pressure, land to the body, and maintain defensive responsibility, it's a winnable fight for him. It's a very winnable fight. I see a lot of comments, so if I'm missing your comments and I skip over it, you might need to drop it again because it's been a while since I've been live. So you know, sometimes there's ways that I go about doing these lives, and you know, it's like riding a bike, you know, but you got to get your reps in. And yeah, man, her boyfriend, like, bro, I was mad as hell, bro. I was mad. Not to go back to the story. The second girl, the Spanish girl, all right. I liked her. She was nice, and she was feeling the kid. And if I would have had like 30 more seconds, I would have closed the show. We would have closed the show in grand fashion. But you know, I don't understand, right? Like if you're going to a club, why would you bring your girlfriend to the club? Like, explain that to me. If you got a girl, right, the last place you need to be bringing a girl to is the club. If you guys are like in a serious, like committed relationship, you should never be going there. Why bring sand to the beach? All you're gonna get when you go to the club is a bunch of other horny dudes looking to screw your girl. So like you shouldn't be going to the club. It's not smart. It's not prudent. It's not the most advantageous thing to do for you and the well-being of your relationship. And if you got a girl that insists that you go to the club, then you shouldn't be with her. End of discussion. Downtown shenanigans. Damn, BT, Mr. Steal Your Girl. Yeah, that's what it was like. That's what it was like, man. It was nuts. It was nuts. You know, but I told them, I warned my friends. I said, look, because I don't really go to clubs, but like I know how I am. I know how I am if you put me in an environment where there's a lot of beautiful women and there's no boxing involved. Okay, if there's no boxing involved, and I don't have boxing to focus on, then you're gonna see a different side of BT. And I told him that. I said, these are my exact words. These are my exact words to my friends. You can't bring South Florida niggas to the club. You can't. You can't bring people from South Florida to the club. We different. We just different, man. And they saw that South Florida was different on that night. Hyro says, BT, I see you've been running, testing the waters at 115. Can't believe the biggest fight at 115 is a trilogy that no one asked for. And no one even asked for the first fight. Yeah, man, I have been running, you know, with everything going on with Pops and life in general. I've just taken this time to get back to the basics, you know, making these videos, going live, talking to you guys, working out, just getting back to the basics, man, because I feel like the next phase of my life is going to call for me to be a much more disciplined and stronger man. So that's what it is, man. That's what it is. Getting them runs in and getting back in dog shape slowly but surely. Let me see where we at. Chicas Locas. All right. What do you think of me? Do you think Mean Machine could stop Virgil Ortiz? And that's a great fight. I like that fight. I think it's the right fight at the right time for Virgil Ortiz. Mean Machine, if he lands on almost any welterweight in the division, is capable of hurting them, stopping them. He's got that kind of power. I see you, Keenan K. I'm going to get to your comment in a second. With Mean Machine, you know, if he lands that 1-2 on anybody, he's capable of hurting anybody on earth. You know, but Virgil is someone that, you know, thus far in his career, he's shown, for the most part, good defensive responsibility. Although I will say that when he fought Maurice Hooker was touching him up. So, you know, not to sound basic or elementary, but if Mean Machine, if Kavaluskas can touch Virgil Ortiz with them same shots that Hooker was able to touch him with in the middle rounds of that fight, could be an interesting fight. But to answer your question, yes, I think he can. And I think it's a great fight at this stage for Virgil Ortiz. August 14th, Virgil Ortiz versus Kavaluskas. Going to be a good one over there in Texas at the Star in Frisco. Frisco, stand up. Yeah. Somebody asked me earlier what I think about Bivol versus Canelo and Bivol versus Beterbiev. I'm picking Bivol versus both of them. Straight up and down. I got Bivol versus both of them. I think there's a reason these guys want to fight Bivol. I think Bivol is one of the best technical boxers in the sport. He's got great athleticism. He's got fantastic footwork. And, yeah, man. Bivol's the truth. True, she was probably a freak. She probably was a freak. I wouldn't put it past her. That girl, the Latina girl from Houston. Your thoughts on Bubu Andrade's first ballot Hall of Fame resume? His resume isn't great. It's trash. But at the same time, you can only fight who's willing to fight you. And on top of that, you know, I'll put some blame on him too, because he did some stupid things in his career. Like he was signed to Rock Nation and Banner Promotions simultaneously, and then that prevented some fights from happening as well. So it's his own doing as well. But it's also the doing that of the champions and a lot of these guys not wanting to fight him, such as Canelo, such as Charlo, such as Golovkin. They don't want to fight him. Shout out to my main man, 50 grand, Keenan KTV. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Keenan KTV. He just hit, 100,000 subscribers. He got that platinum plaque. So shout out to him, man. He become my inspiration on YouTube, Keenan K, doing his thing, man. Yeah, and by the way, Keenan, I appreciate all the messages, man, and the comments. You know, I have seen them. I've been getting a lot of comments and messages. I just haven't got back to all of them, but I really appreciate yours, bro. You've been a very good friend of me over the years, and I'm very appreciative of you. So thank you for the comments, man, and keep up all the great work. Canelo saying you want payday shows that he's pocket watching. Why is he worried about his perks? I thought he wanted straps. Thank you, man. Thank you. He's saying he wants payday, but okay, this is prize fighting, right? This is boxing. This is prize fighting. Canelo wants money. Every fighter wants money. Canelo wants money. Floyd wants money. Jake Paul wants money. Chocolatito wants money. Everybody wants money in boxing. It's prize fighting. Nobody's going to the gym and sparring multiple times a week and running mountains and doing all this therapy and acupuncture and all the stuff, like the cryotherapy and all the stuff that comes with training and recovery because they like it. Nobody's doing it because they like it. They're doing it specifically because Yes, they want to be great. Yes, they want to win fights. Yes, they want to have a legacy. But they're doing it because they want to make money so they can live a good life, because most fighters come from a shitty, tough background, okay? They're doing it because they want to better their lives. They're not doing it because they just like it. Come on, man. Let's use our brains here. And yeah, another one, Jaime Munguia, another one. Jaime Munguia, he's been #1 contender in the WBO for well over a year. Well over a year. Could have been fought Demetrius Andrade. But, of course, Jaime Munguia don't want no smoke. Jaime Munguia is in the Golden Boy Promotions, Oscar de la Hoya, Eric Gomez Witness Protection Program. And they're waiting for Demetrius Andrade to move up to 168 so he can fight for big and better 160. But I'll tell you this. If Munguia has to fight Johnny Beck Alimkoli for a vacant belt, he still won't be world champion, because Johnny Beck Alimkoli gonna box his freaking ears off. And listen, Johnny Beck Alimkoli, I'm a huge fan of his. I wouldn't even mind. I know Demetrius Andrade would get criticized for fighting him because people don't know who he is. People are gonna say he's nobody. But Johnny Beck Alimkoli is a damn good fighter, and I think, you know, at some point in time, he'll be world champion. Hell of a fighter. Just put on a boxing masterclass against Rob Brandt on ESPN on the Nakatani Lomachenko undercard. If Pacquiao beats Spence, do you see him trying to fight Crawford? I like to see Crawford versus Spence as well. I have no clue. I think this will be Pacquiao's last fight, win or lose. I don't think it's gonna happen with Crawford. Listen, man, I'm trying not to be pessimistic about Terence Crawford, but when it comes to getting those big fights from those two guys in the form of Spence and Pacquiao, I just don't see it happening for Crawford. But what I think is gonna happen is I think he's gonna fight Josh Taylor, and Josh Taylor will move up from 140 to fight him, and that'd be a damn great fight. You know, I think I look at that fight as a 55-45 fight in favor of Crawford, you know, but not a safe fight at all. You know, Josh Taylor could fuck around, go up to 147 and beat Crawford, but I'm gonna just slightly favor Terence Crawford in that fight. And that's the only fight at 147 I'm favoring over Josh Taylor if he moves up. Let me see. Shout out to everybody here, man. We already an hour in, man. Time just flies when you're having fun. If a boxer gets popped for PEDs, should they get charged with attempted murder? Well, what I can tell you about PEDs is this, man. I can't get too into detail, but what I'll say is that PEDs in boxing are a lot more commonplace than you guys think. You know, I would say, like, of the top fighters in boxing that we know of, that you guys know of, I would say about a good solid 80 to 85% of them, they're on PEDs, you know? And a lot of times what winds up happening is the fighters that aren't on PEDs, they feel like if they know another guy's on PEDs, they feel like they had to take PEDs just to be on an even playing field. So even if they're not corrupt, they have to corrupt themselves to even things out, you know? And that's just the nature of the business and how it goes. And these things, look, these things traditionally happen the higher levels of boxing you get to. So like, if when you get to that pay-per-view level, or that level where you're fighting on TV, you know, you're gonna see these things happen more. Now, fighters test positive for PEDs all the time, and a lot of times what winds up happening is, you know, these testing agencies, and these promotional companies, they pick and choose who they want to say is on PEDs and who they don't want to say is on PEDs. I can tell you guys right now, I'm not going to name no names, but there's fighters in boxing right now that I know for 1,000% fact are on PEDs that you guys, and it hasn't been put out there in the news yet, that if you guys found out, you guys be like, damn, I can't believe you took PEDs. No, everyone knows. Everyone knows Canelo's on PEDs. That's not surprising. Al the Pal says, I'm gonna see if I can get you an interview with my kinfolk before he fights later on this year, or just to do it to let you know what's been happening with him. Who is he? Who is the person that you're trying to get me an interview with? Hyro says, I still want to see Bektir Melakuziev against Kovalev coming off losses, and me and Hyro had this conversation about a couple weeks ago. You know, Kovalev Melikuziev, that was a fight that was supposed to happen. It was an interesting fight when it was first supposed to happen. And you know what? If Kovalev's still going to continue to box, I still think it's a very interesting fight, because whoever wins that fight, it's gonna be funny to see the loser. Like, if Kovalev wins, then Melikuziev gets exposed as a guy that's really not as good as people thought he was. If Kovalev loses that fight, then Melikuziev gets a win over a former world champion. So, you know, what's wrong with... Could be a good fight to throw on an undercard. I'm with it. Alfred Miller says, yo, BT, what's your opinion on Nonito Donaire canceling the Casemiro fight because of his trash talking? In my opinion, Casemiro was way out of line. Yeah, he went real crazy talking about his wife and things like that. Look, man, that could be... Listen, at the end of the day, I wanted to see that fight, and basically what wound up happening was we just got back to square one. Like, the original fight was supposed to be Rigondeaux versus Casemiro. Donaire had the courage to step in and fight, but then due to complications and misunderstandings and I guess some shady things going on with the VADA testing, they decided that his wife decided they were going to call out Casemiro and Memo Heredia started flapping their gums talking about Donaire. Donaire got pissed off and wasn't having none of it, and he decided to pull out. So look, Donaire is a true warrior of the sport. So is Casemiro. I wish the fight would have happened, but you know, it's one of either two things. Either he's just genuinely pissed off and he doesn't want to deal with that kind of disrespect, or maybe Donaire knows something about Casemiro that we don't. You know, I'll leave it at that. He said it's a former top-ranked fighter, 19-0, undefeated. Okay, send him my way, champ. I'll tell you this, Alfred. What I can't tell you about Casemiro is I've stood like 10 feet from Casemiro, and I've watched him hit the pads in person. I've watched him hit the pads, and I've watched him hit the punching bag in person. I saw him train last year in Miami at Mundo Boxing Gym. And his punching power for a guy, because me and Casemiro, I mean, I'm actually taller than Casemiro. I'm taller and lankier than Casemiro. He's a little shorter than me, Casemiro. And his punching power for a guy of his size is very, very different. I mean, he's a 118 pounder, and the punches sounded like they were coming from a 140 pounder. You know, it was that explosive. It was that loud. It was that thudding. It was a different sound. Not saying that he doesn't have natural power, but it is something to look at. Did you see Kevin Iole cook Fred Hawthorne? No, I didn't. What happened with that? Enlighten me, because look, even when I'm active on YouTube, I don't really go to too many people's channels. I watch videos here and there, but I focus on what I gotta do. But yeah, put me on game, man. I'll go check it out. You know. He also three-peated the National Golden Gloves as well. Wow, he's 19-0 undefeated top-ranked fighter, 3-time National Golden Gloves champion in a row. That's pretty damn good stuff as a fighter, you know. I know a lot of fighters that would like to have those kind of accomplishments. So, yeah, send them my way, man. Yeah, me too, man. I wanted to see Casemiro versus Rigondeaux, Casemiro versus Donaire, I should say, myself. You know, the two of the pound-for-pound hardest punchers in boxing, like any weight class. Like it's harder to find many fighters that are pound for pound harder punchers at their weight than a Casemiro or a Donaire. So yeah, it's unfortunate that something so trivial that could have been easily solved and ironed out with cooler heads and more rational thinkers. It's unfortunate that those the fight's not happening. You know. Yeah, man. It's the first time being live back, man. It's great. It's great to hear from you guys. Type in Kevin Iole, Fred Hawthorne on YouTube. It pops up. He cooks. I'll check it out. I don't have a computer near me right now. I'm on my phone, but like when I get out this live, I'll make sure I check it out. And if it's funny enough, I might even do a video on it. Mayweather got National Golden Gloves 3 times, but he was 2 in a row, then lost, and then he came back to get a 3rd time. So yeah, you're saying Mayweather didn't 3-peat. I know he won Both. BT, I will not be surprised if Lopez loses, man. I really wish that it didn't happen. That it doesn't happen. You're talking about Teofimo. Look, the only way I think Tio will lose to Lomachenko is if he's significantly weight drained, which is a very big possibility. That's why I'm worried about this. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, look, y'all know I like Teofimo Lopez. You know, he's from the town. He's from South Florida. He's a South Florida kid. You know, he's from Davie, Florida. Davie Powell's very own Teofimo Lopez. I love Teofimo Lopez. Had a chance to meet him in when I was in Vegas. I had a chance to watch him spar my boy Dominique Francis. I watched Tio spar for 8 rounds, and he looked sensational. If the Teofimo Lopez I saw on sparring would have showed up for that Kambosos fight, Kambosos would have. I think Kambosos would have ended up badly beaten up. I mean, badly beaten up, badly. But you know, the fight didn't happen because of COVID or whatever. So it is what it is. Tio, I know for a fact he's having problems making that weight. He is. Everyone in boxing circles knows that. People who don't even know that aren't even in boxing circles knows that. So that's the only thing I'm worried. I'm worried about because Lomachenko is gonna be at his best for this rematch. That much I know. And I know Tio, if he's weight drained, that means he might be sluggish. You know, he might not be as good in the later rounds as he was in the first fight, and that could be very problematic for him because that's when Lomachenko fought his best. But I think Teofimo's a winner. I think he'll find a way to win because the great ones find a way to win under any circumstance. He's going to have Bob Arum against him. He's going to have the whole Top Rank establishment against him again because they want Lomachenko to win this fight so badly. And I think he'll find a way to win. I think he'll find a way to knock Lomachenko out. And I'm going to stick with my boy from South Florida. I'm going to stick with Teofimo Lopez because I think he's a special fighter. His racist ass statements. Teofimo probably has no chin because he's Honduran. No, he's from South Florida. He's American. So he's going to find a way to win because he's an American. He was born in America, therefore he's an American. Is Joel Diaz an overrated trainer? His fighters keep losing and they have no defense. I don't know. I mean, I think he is. I mean, when I hear his instructions, most of the time, it's not really like clear cut. I don't think it's like clear cut. When I hear his instructions, they're not clear cut instructions. They're like, it's like he's just yelling, urging his fighters to throw punches, but it's not like clear cut instructions. I'm not really a fan of how he gives instructions. So to answer your question, yes, I think Joel Diaz is an overrated trainer. Tio is unbeatable at this point in his career, in my opinion. He's too good a boxer with overwhelming power. Yeah, man. And look, I'll tell you this. I saw Teofimo Lopez. He sparred I saw him spar 8 rounds. Getting ready for the Kambosos fight. He sparred a 140-pound prospect named Brandon Pizarro. Very, very talented young fighter. Longer fighter than Tio, lankier fighter than Tio. Pushing him 5 rounds, pushing him real good. And then he gets Tio real tired. And then they put my boy Dominique Francis in there really fast. And Dominique has gotten stronger too because he was exchanging very well with Tio in pockets of that sparring session. I saw Tio's boxing ability. I saw Teofimo's punching power. I saw his ability to slug. He really was, from what I saw in the sparring, just looking like a hell of a fighter. I was seeing the complete skill set. Shout out to my main man Charlie, the child of the king. He says, "Repent." Yes, Charlie, that's what we're gonna do. To the day we die, we're gonna repent. What do you think about Tio's manager saying that he could potentially vacate his IBF title and walk away for Kambosos due to Chilla wanting to stage a fight in Australia? It's interesting. If that's the case, there's a lot of layers to that because if the fight is to happen in Australia, I know that the policy in Australia is that if you travel through to Australia, you have to have, I think it's like a 1 week or a 10-day hard quarantine. So basically, they put you in a room for like a week or 10 days, and you can't come out your room until then. You can't mingle with society until then. So it's like I don't know. That will play a role on both fighters. That would be hard on both fighters. The hard quarantine that goes on in Australia. I think for me, if I was Tio, if I was in his shoes at this point in his career, right now you have all the power. You're the man in the division. You got the belts. You're a pound for pound consensus fighter. I would if I can't make the weight. If I can't make the weight, and if I know that's going to be an issue at all, and it's going to hinder my performance at all, even the slightest bit, if I was to, I'd vacate all the belts and go up to 140, and start making some noise there. That would be the best thing for Tio, in my opinion. In my opinion, the best thing Tio could do is fuck the Lomachenko fight off, because the reality is this: the reason Lomachenko didn't want to, when they negotiated that first contract, Teofimo Lopez wanted a rematch clause, and Egis Klimas, Lomachenko, and his team said no, we will not put a rematch clause in the contract, because they were that confident and cocky that they would beat him. So Tio said, okay, if I beat you, I'm not giving you a rematch on the back end. But now Top Rank Boxing is trying to throw Teofimo Lopez all this money to where they backed him in a corner, where it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. So if I'm Tio, you have to be 10 steps ahead of, like, we know Bob Arum don't like Tio. We know that Lomachenko is the guy that he likes more, and that they're gonna try to set him up for. So if I'm Tio, I'm getting the fuck up out of 35 tomorrow. Today or tomorrow, I'm getting out of there, because not all money is good money. Not all money is good money. You can make money at 140. There's big fights for you at 140. You can go fight Zepeda. You can go fight Ramirez. You can go fight Josh Taylor, and that'd be a mega fight. Is he ready for Josh Taylor? I'm not so sure. I'd favor Taylor just so slightly, but I don't think it's for me personally, as someone who likes Teofimo Lopez and wants to see him do well. I think the best thing he could do is get the fuck up out of 130. Get up out of 135, I should say, because I don't think his body can make that weight. He's big. Teofimo Lopez is a brolic dude. Seeing him in person makes me wonder how the hell he makes 35 in the first place any damn way. Okay, so get up out of there. Chance Dodson, shout out to you with the $2 super chat. I appreciate all the support, champ. He says, how you doing, brother? I'm doing good, man. I'm here in South Florida. Seeing some friends right now. Just trying to get back to normality. Been working out. And as you can see, I got the buzz cut. And yeah, man, we're just here talking boxing, man. So just good to see you. And for those of you guys wondering what's going on with Pops is good. Pops made it home safely a couple of days ago. He's got to take more precautions with his health now. I did talk to him about going live soon with him. He did say that soon he will go on a live with me, and he's very up for it. So expect a live sometime in the next week to 2 weeks of Pops. That will definitely be on the horizon. But all in all, Chance, I'm doing great. Your boy BT's great. We went through a bit of a rough patch in life, but we came back, and we're pressing forward like a champ. Let me see what else we got. Duke, what's good, champ? Shout out to you, Duke. He said, what up, BT? I hope Pops is doing well. Yeah, he's doing better now. It's been a very tumultuous time around my house as of late. Hyro says, if Dominique Francis were to ask you where he should sign, what would you tell him? If Dominique Francis came up to me and asked me where he should sign, I would tell him that he shouldn't sign with anybody for a good 5 to 6 fights. I think he should go the Devin Haney route, keep winning these fights, keep building his value, and you sign the promoter when it's the most advantageous towards you. That's what I would tell him. Who should he sign with? I mean, he's at what? He's at 122, 126. So right now he's 122, but he's young, and he's gonna probably be a 26-pounder real soon. So I don't know, man. I don't know. To be honest with you, I think PBC and Al Haymon will be a good route for him, because I do know they take, they pay their fighters a lot. They pay their fighters pretty good. But I don't know. For me to really give any fighter advice on where they should sign, I would have to actually spend time around them, and know the situation and see what they're like day to day in their lives. And there's only like two fighters on earth that I can really give that kind of advice to, because I spend time with them. I know what they're like on a day to day basis. I know their training habits. I know what makes them tick. Dominique, we're friends. We're cool. I love Dominique. He actually messaged me the other day, and he wants to go to this Latin cafe in North Miami. So we might go soon. But I'm not around him all the time, so I don't know him. I know him. He's my friend. We're cool. But like I don't know him like I know, like, let's say, like Angelo Leo. LT, he says, I'm happy to see you back, bro. Saludos to True School Sport. Hey, shout out to you, champ. Yeah, I got that George Foreman haircut. Shout out to George Foreman. That's one of my favorite fighters, and hopefully, people always ask me. I get this question a lot. People say, BT, True School, the Untouchable. You've interviewed so many people. You've interviewed this guy and you've interviewed that guy. Who's like the one person you really want to interview more than anybody in boxing? And the answer I give everybody is the same. It's actually George Foreman. That's like my. I've interviewed so many people, so I can't really say I have people that are my dream interviews. I've interviewed almost everybody I wanted to interview, but like one person I've never interviewed and never met that I want to really interview and meet, I want to really sit down with George Foreman, because there's so many things I could ask him about. The one thing I really want to ask George Foreman about is I don't know if for those of you out there, have you guys ever seen when George Foreman fought 5 people in one day? That shit was crazy. For those of you who don't know, so when George Foreman lost to Muhammad Ali, his confidence took a big hit. He mentally wasn't the same. So Don King arranged this whole elaborate publicity stunt. It was an exhibition of sorts. And he arranged for 5 people, 5 4-round exhibitions in the same day in Toronto at the Maple Leaf Gardens in Canada. And George Foreman was fighting guys like these former Muhammad Ali sparring partners. Like one guy that I remember he fought that day was a fighter by the name of Alonzo Johnson. Alonzo Johnson was one of Muhammad Ali's sparring partners. And the crazy thing was they had George Foreman beating these guys up one after the next. And then they had Muhammad Ali doing commentary right there on ABC, talking shit to George Foreman. It was nuts. If you haven't seen it, I would advise anybody to go watch it. It would be nuts. Jesus M says, Beck Bully versus David Morrell. Who you got? A lot of people have been asking me about David Morrell, and I still gotta watch more of David Morrell. But I'm gonna go with and that one, from what I've seen, David Morrell, I like what I'm seeing from him. So I'll go with David Morrell. I'm not really like sold on Beck Bully like that. He's a good fighter, but I just think if you're a fighter with good footwork who can control the ring with your feet, and you got any bit of punching power, you're gonna be able to beat Beck Bully. We saw that with Rosado. Rosado was able to set not just traps, but the trap that set up that big right hand. And it's crazy how quickly things can change in boxing. Like a year ago at this time when COVID first started, I remember people used to say, they say that Beck Bully was the best prospect in boxing. Now, people want to high on Beck Bully. Jason Rosario was champion not too long ago, a win away from being unified champion. Now he's had 2 embarrassing knockout losses. Boxing is a cruel and unforgiving sport. Hyro says, you skipped out on David Morrell for a woman. I did. Yeah, I did that one time. Yeah, man. Shout out to Annalicia. Thick girl from Dallas. I liked Annalicia. She was nice. She's pregnant now too, man. Annalicia got pregnant. I'm kind of sad about that. I liked her. She was nice. But yeah, she was in town from Texas, and I hung out with her. And David Morrell fought that day. Yeah, man. But shout out to David Morrell. Yeah, George Foreman's a Houston guy. What was Rolly wearing at the press conference? I don't know, man, but Rolly looked like August Alsina. He looked like he about to get into some damn entanglements. It's too much, man. John Tovar, what's good, champ? John Tovar from LA Fitness, my man, at the punching bag. What's good, champ? How you living? You good? Reese Mack says the revenge of true school sports, back with a vengeance, back like I never left. I came back with the Malcolm X glasses. I got bigger glasses just to see through the bullshit. I got the buzz cut so you know I'm serious. We back, champ. He used to be a strong boxer, but he fell off very quickly. Yeah, man. It's unfortunate what's happened to Beck Bully. You know, there was a lot of people ask, is this a Rolex watch? Yeah, it's a Rolex watch. It's a Rolex. You know, what's that Lil Baby song say? I just gotta bust down, can't wait to hold it up. Nah, it's not a Rolex. It's not a Rolex. It's a I don't know if you can see it. It's a Van Houston watch. It's a $20 watch. But I rock it like it's a Rolex. It's a $20 Breitling. It's a $20 Rolex. I got David Morrell in a fight versus Beck Bully. I like Morrell in that fight. But yeah, man, on that note, guys, it's been almost an hour and a half. I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna get some food. But we'll be live again tomorrow for the live fight reaction of Sing That Rolex song. Hawker Mustang, what's up, man? And yeah, Beck Bully got knocked out against Rosado. But yeah, we'll be live tomorrow for the Charlo versus Castano fight. You know, gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a momentous occasion. So we're really, really excited about that. Hyro, I'm gonna call you right after this live. I'll be live for the fight tomorrow, so make sure you guys tune in for that. Make sure y'all smash that like button. It's my first live fight reaction since God knows when, because all the live fight reactions that have happened recently have all been my dad. So, you know, the Untouchable is back. You know, life kicked my ass a little bit recently, but we're back better than ever. And I feel like, you know, this is where God wants me to be, and we're gonna take that responsibility very serious. You know, God gives you talents. God gives you you know, He gives you talents, and he places you in certain areas of life, and you can't take those places for granted, and you can't take those talents for granted. So I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. We're gonna have a great time. Be on the lookout for all the other content coming out here on True School Sports in the coming days, because there is a lot to catch up on. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.